me! This is not another post bag.
This is the start of a project.
Can you guess what it is? Let's get it open. In this project are 3.5mm inline stereo jack socket, because that's going for another project, and so is this 6.35mm mono jack plug. That and that are going together, and here we have piezo ceramic element 27mm with flying leads, and they are one project which you may see later. But for this current project, we have 8x2A budget screw terminals. Oh, can you guess what I'm making yet? And just to make matters worse, 330 microfarad, 25 volt electrolytics, and I bought the wrong ones.
I wanted 35 volt, not 25 volt.
So they'll have to do. I'll have to turn the voltage down. 4-pin straight headers. Four-pin housings. Why I bought 40 housings and only bought 20 headers? Don't ask me. And crimp connectors or contacts to go in the housing. And then just some odd capacitors. I got some 100 mic 10 volt low ESR capacitors. Now that is what come in the bag. So this is for the project. So what else are we going to use for this project? Well, we're going to use something that I bought in the past. I bring it in. So that is part of the project. These were from an old post bag, and they are part
of the project.
These are FYSETC 2209 stepper motor drivers with the chip on board and the adjustment. So I got 4 of them. I'm only going to need 3. This is as you can see, a Mega 2560 in all its glory. This lot is going to go on top of here. And this is the start of the kit collection of components for the K40 for the new stepper motor and laser drive board. It's going to use the Mega 2560 with Gerbil-Mega software with the 2209 stepper drivers and the headers and some capacitors. And the reason that they wanted 2035 and not 2025 is I want to run the steppers at 24 volts. And so there will be a design coming along with the board on there where 25 volts or 24 volts is going to come in, and that will be converted down to 5 volts to run this board and power and stay at 24 to power the steppers. The 5 volts coming in on here will be disabled or removed, so there's no power on that connector. Before we continue, I'd just like to say thanks to the channel sponsor, PCB Way. These are the folks I go to for my PCB needs, and they provided the PCB for this project. Now the option page for the PCBs is very easy to follow. You go to the instant quote, you just work your way down. How many designs you got, what size it is, how many layers, what you want it made of, aluminium or FR4. And then you can select the colours. I went for red this time, and all the options. Now if you just want a standard, hey, I want a prototype board, you know, most of it is already selected. You don't need to actually do a lot. Just tell it how big your board is, pop in the Gerbers, and away you go. and they will check your Gerbers and come back and tell you if they found any problems. But just look at the other things they can do. You know, PCB assembly, different types of PCB boards, different surfaces, drillings, mechanics and that. There's just so much they do. And don't get me started talking about the CNC machining, 3D printing, metal fabrication, injection moulding. I haven't used any of these yet, but I'm sure in time there may be a project to do with maybe some sheet fabrication or some CNC machining. So you just have to watch this space. Now, after that shout out to PCB Way, let's get back to the video. Right, and this is the last major part of the puzzle. How do we get in? These cords of these PCB Way have sponsored these boards. Alright, let's get them out of the bubble wrap. I'm a little worried with these boards because I used an outline off the internet, and it was a bit hard to check the printed version against the Arduino. So we're going to have a quick sanity check. Arduino Nano, oh sorry, Mega. I'm not sure we've got enough of these, but it'll be nice if to fit them all on. So, sanity check. Will the board fit? Should have got double-headed ones of them. Hey, I'd say that is a success. Now that was a pleasant surprise. I know there is a couple of issues with the board. I know I tell everyone to check, double check, triple check and all this lot. I think there is going to be some issues. As unfortunately towards the end I was quite keen to keep this going. Be moving on to build the board. Well, bit wobbly, but they kind of fit on. Do they fit better in? Better in those holes. So there's a selection of holes, so you can work out which one goes where. I don't understand why the camera is not focusing. I think it's time. I'll start some soldering, but that might be a bit later. So, thumbs up to PCB way. Thanks for the boards. We'll move on to the next step, see if it works. Well, now we'll move on to the next step, soldering all the components on. As there is some components to go on the back. So, a little bit of work to do. There are some little jumpers that might need soldering and a few components on top and the bottom, well, the bottom and the top. So a little bit of work to do. Mistake number 1, I lost the pin 1 designation on the on U1, but pin 1 is up the top. So let's put ground on there. Right, we have 23.93 on there, and this is the V-in pin on the Arduino. We have 7 volts on there. So hopefully the 7 volts on there is 2 volt headroom will be enough to provide the 5 volts to power the Arduino. And I suppose, has anyone worked out what it is yet? Probably a giveaway if you can read that. So K40 driver board version 1. 3 stepper motors X, Y and Z. Bit overkill on the capacitors, but hopefully when we finish assembling it, it will be good to go. So at least we know the power supply part works. We have some tiny little diodes to go in there. So coming in 5 volts, goes above 5 volts, it will conduct to there. If it goes below 5 ground, then it will conduct. It's good to go. And we have D2, D3, D4 and D5. So can I fit these without a microscope? Yeah, that's fine. Right. 12, 11, 10 and 9. And then 8, 7, 6, 5 and 4. That's R13. Seems to have lost its ident. Oh well, 100k. It's only a pull down for the FET, so I don't suppose it will matter if it's lost it. This is only for me, so it don't really matter, does it? Sorry about the cough. I'm a bit under the weather at the moment. Let's put, what are these? These are the big decouplers. I'm going to put one in at the moment, one for each channel. Socket. Put the sockets in next. Oh, I should have done that before the caps. Then the last thing, the actual stepper drivers. Put me nice tall sockets. I don't want to solder them in. I want to be able to pull them out in case I have to change them or anything. I wanted to keep the connector leads as short as possible for the tracks, but I think I made them a bit too short. Plus, I was trying to get the outline in line, well, in the same outline as the Arduino Mega. So there we have it, all the soldering finished with the bodge components on it connected up. The next thing is to remove the 5 volts off this connector, as I want the 24 volts to power the board and the Arduino, and I don't want to have a power breaker or something on here, so I just want to disconnect the 5 volts from here if I can. So it's just a matter of where it comes in and how I can get to it, whether I have to cut a pin or cut a track, but that's what I want to do. So sorry if the screens have been in and out of focus and things aren't been missing, but I've had a bug and it makes it very hard to think. So I don't think the brain's in total gear. So luckily it wasn't the corona lurgy. It's just something else I caught. Common garden bug. So here we have it. Next step is a bit of testing, and I'll catch that in a minute. It will be for you. Well, I think I'll break the video here. It's a bit long, and I'll do the testing in a part 2. So if you like what you've seen so far, click subscribe and hit the notification bell so you see when the testing video comes out. And also please hit that like button. YouTube likes to see that. And of course pop down to the comments and leave any comments, and I'll promise I'll read them and I'll reply to most. Well, I think I'll reply to all of them. Anyway, pop down, catch you later.